talk about fox hunting, we're not going to be hunting a cute little creature like this. We're going to be hunting a radio fox. This radio broadcasts a continuous signal that we'll look for and locate with directional antennas. The object of today's video is to build a directional antenna, and I'm going to show you how to do that. So please follow me to the workbench and we'll get started. Hey everyone, this video is about building a 70 centimeter Yagi for fox hunting. This Yagi is put together with measuring tape, some PVC, a little bit of shrink wrap, a coaxial cable, and a bit of solder. Very easy to make, very quick to make. It is cut for approximately 443.7, which is where our two foxes will hang out in that frequency range. It's set up for receive only because it doesn't have a trans match. I suppose you could transmit on that frequency and it would work, but you can put a trans match on here and use it for transmission. The one thing about this build is after you build this, you can build any Yagi. All you need to do is calculate out the element lengths and the spacing and use the same technique. You can do 6 meters, 220. I don't know if you can do 10. It'd be very interesting though. I thought about that. This one even has a little room here so you can add a couple of more elements to it. But this is what we're going to do, so let's get to it. Okay, before we get started, let's talk about a couple of critical things here. Probably one of the important things is these are the clamps that are going to be used to hold the elements. The end clamp here, which would be holding on director element 2, should only be inserted on here 5/16 in. So let's see if you can see that in there. Yeah, you probably can. Not used to working backwards here. Okay, you don't want to put it on all the way. If you put it on all the way, nothing's going to fit, and you won't have room for a handle or anything. We need just 5/16, and we'll show you how to do that. Second of all, these measurements between elements, okay, critical, yes. What they're measured from is center of the clamp to center of the clamp. So if we have a clamp here, we're going to measure from this line here to this line here, and that would be 10 and 15/16 between director 2 and director 1, and 5 and 5/16 between the dipole, and 6 and 15/16 between the clamps for the reflector. So that's kind of important. Okay, let's actually get started here, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure off 5/16 of an inch on the pipe here, and I'm going to make a mark there. Not a phenomenal mark, but it's a mark. Okay, and I'm going to slide this on here about 5/16. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a little line kind of around here so we know where to put the glue. We're going to take our glue, and as I reverse this here, we're going to run a bead along the edge here. Like that. Okay, then we're going to take a clamp and we're going to slide it on here right up to that line. So that's on there 15/16. Probably going to move it a little bit around here, just a little bit to get that glue in there. I'm going to insert a clamp on the other end, and we're going to put this down on the workbench here. Move this up a little bit. Put this down on the workbench, and we're going to leave it, making sure this is at 5/16, and we're going to leave it there for probably 10 or 15 minutes until this gets a chance to solidify. It won't cure, most of these glues won't cure for 24 hours, but give it at least 10-15 minutes so it'll be on there and workable, and we'll come back to this. Well, let's get going here and cut the elements. First one we're going to cut, we're going to start with director 2, which is 11 and 9/16 inch. I've already used some of this tape measure thing here, but we're going to pull out 11 9/16. And we're going to measure that off. And I'm going to make a little mark here. And a little mark here. I know I'm going to cut it straight. And then we'll go ahead and cut it. Okay, we have 11 9/16, and we're gonna mark this right away as D2. Put that to the side. Now we're gonna go 11 11/16 for D1. Keeps on falling over on me here. And mark that. And cut it. Measure it again real quick. 16ths. And we're going to cut the dipole, the two sides of the dipole, 6 and 11/16 inch. Can't see my mark there. And we're just going to put that one on top of this one. Let's make sure we cut it right. Yeah, that's 11/16. And we'll cut that one. And these are, whoops, I forgot to mark. This is Director 1. The last one we cut. We don't need to mark these because they're kind of obvious. And we're going to do the reflector at 13 and 13/16 inch. Where's my marks? I can't see my marks. They're there. And we'll mark this as the reflector. I'll put an R on there. Okay, once we have these done, these edges are pretty sharp here. Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to demonstrate on one of the halves of the dipole. These edges, corners are really sharp here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this little mini grinder here. And we're going to round them off. Actually, let's do this. Let's take them and we're going to actually quicken the process by cutting the corners off. And now I'm going to take this little mini grinder and round the edges. That feels good. Let's do this one. Let's go a little sharp there. That feels good. And we're going to take the paint off about, I don't know, half an inch on here. So we can solder the coax onto the dipole. And there we go. If you don't have a little grinder, use a piece of sandpaper. Really best to get rid of those sharp edges though, and remove the paint on the dipole is going to kind of go like that, so remove the paint on the inside edges here and round it off too. Go ahead and trim and round off all of your elements, and we'll move on to the next step. Okay, we're back. Let's see if this is dried. It is dried fairly well enough to work. If you still notice, it's set back about 5/16 of an inch, because this is what is this, 3/8 or no, 5/8. So it's 5/16 spacing in there, and now we're going to add the other element holders. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide on 3 more of these. And there we go. And these are PVC clamps. So what we're going to do is now we're going to measure the distance of 10 and 15/16 inches between this right here and this right here. So what we're doing is we're measuring 15/16 or 10 and 15/16 between director 2 and director 1. Okay, it looks, and we're measuring from the center line of the clamp to the center line of the other clamp. And it looks like 10 and 15/16. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to draw a, let's draw a line there and here, because we're going to use that for our glue guidelines. So we've got that. Now we're going to line that up here, and we're going to measure our next clamp. And the measurement is 5 and 15/16. So we're going to make sure this guy is where he's supposed to be. And we're going to look at 5 and 15/16. Well, 5 and 5/16, excuse me. Don't want to screw that up. Five and a quarter, let's move it a little more. And there our measure is, snip. And our measurement is now 5 and 5/16. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw another line over here. There's a glue guide line. Oops, let me make sure that this didn't move here. Kind of always double check your measurements. No, it's yeah, it is off. Okay. So I did not double check my measurement and moved it. I suppose I could tape these down, but I'm kind of lazy. Let me check it one more time. 5 5/16. And we've got our lines here. And now we're going to move it over again, and we're going to make our last measurement from the dipole to the reflector. Make sure this is lined up, and that's going to be 6 15/16. So we're going to make sure that's exactly on the money there. And we're going to move this down a little more. And let me make sure we're where we're supposed to be. Measure all these things. Okay, and it's slid on me already. I'm just going to remeasure everything. Now that's correct, okay. And this should be 5 5/16. So move that to where it's supposed to be. And move this to where it's supposed to be. Five 5/16. And we'll check the last measurement should be 6 15/16. Which is where it is. Double check again. And we're going to draw a line. I'm already off the end of the camera here, but I'm drawing a line, double line on the other end. Okay, so we've got our measurements laid out here. We're going to double check them a triple time. 10 15/16, 5 5/16, and 6 just a little off. 6 15/16. All right, yeah, we're good. We're good. Okay. All right, so what we're going to do is we're going to glue this all together now. So how I'm going to do that is, let's start with this guy here. And we're going to be sliding from this direction, so I want to put the glue on the lower end. Like that. And we're going to move the clamp up, and we're going to slide over the glue. Spin the clamp a little bit. Okay, so we got glue on that one. Let's get glue on this one. And we're going to do it also on the lower end. And I'm going to move that. I'm going to spin it around a little bit. Get the glue in there. And we're going to do the last one. I'm going to pull it all the way off. Put the glue on the lower end. And I'm going to slide it back on and line it up. And make sure the glue's moved around there. Now what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move this. And we're going to lay this flat on here. And we're going to readjust everything. And press it down. And we should be, if we take a look here, perfectly aligned. And if you notice at the end here, this is why I had us move this first holder 5/16 back, is because if this was moved over 5/16, we hardly have any room to put on what's eventually going to be our handle. So we're going to let this dry, and then we're going to add the elements, the coax, and put it all together. I've changed the instructions a little bit here. I've included the midpoint on the Director 2, Director 1, and reflector to make it easy to position on the boom. And also, I've kind of decided, I originally was going to go with heat shrink tube, and then I decided to go with the vinyl electrical tape here, the Scotch Super 33 Plus. But actually, the heat shrink tube, if you've got and I spelled Lowe's wrong, if you've got a heat shrink gun or a pretty good hair dryer, a hair dryer is going to take a longer time. If you use the heat shrink tube here, this literally makes it indestructible. It's unbelievable bond. I've cut this 5/8 inch heat shrink tube into 1-inch pieces here, and we're going to be using 8 of these to put the thing together. So let's go ahead and add the elements to the boom and start finishing this up. We're going to start here with the reflector, or I mean with the Director 2. We always know that because it's the end here is 5/8 inch or 5/16 inch off. So we're going to start there, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the element that I've labeled D2. I've got a midpoint set here. My pencil mark is correct, and I'm going to line that up with the split of the clamp here, and I'm going to add one of these little paper clips on here and make sure that's lined up perfectly. There we go. Okay, that's pretty good. And we're going to make sure side to side it's pretty even. Oops, that didn't work very well, did it? Let's try this again. Because it's curved, it's got kind of a little bite to it. Okay. Are we even? Yeah, I'm feeling both edges here, and we are looking pretty even. Oops, but we still got to line it up here again. Okay, and that feels, does that feel even to me? Yeah, it feels pretty even. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to place one of these here onto the element. Actually, I want to move this just down a little more here. Just not quite correct. There it is. Okay, that's better. That's more in the center. And we're still even in the middle. We are. Okay, and I'm going to take my heat gun and we're going to heat this up. Let's get the other side. Okay, and that is on there. I'm going to take this off. And at this point it's still a little malleable. We want to make sure we're centered on here. We'll put another one on the other side. And we still are pretty good on here. And we're going to heat that other one up. And I mean, it's still soft, but once it just cools down a little bit, this is going to be so rigid. You know, very easy to do. You know, a lot of people screw these things down. I mean, if you're screwing it into this clamp, you'd have to use, you could use a sheet metal screw in here or a screw with a nut. You know, but things loosen up. It's a pain in the butt drilling holes in this stuff. You get sharp edges and all that other stuff. The easiest way I found is either electrical tape or using the heat shrink. So what I'm going to do is let's quickly do D. We did Director 2 over here. We're going to move down to Director 1. And I'm going to do this really quickly here and not talk too much. and because I want to get down to the dipole itself. Okay, and that guy's on. Now we're going to move down to the dipole itself. This will be a little more critical. Nice thing about these clamps is they have, you know, little lines in here. Well, we're going to use this as a measurement. We're going to move the end. We remove the paint from the dipole onto, and we're going to place it kind of up against there. And this I'm actually probably going to have to hold. So we're going to have to, because there's no way I'm going to get a clamp on it. So let's see how that's going to work. I've got it up against that line. Okay, and that actually worked out pretty well. It looks pretty straight. We're going to add this one over to this side. Got to be careful. It gets a little warm here, but you don't burn yourself. And you can always heat these up again and move them a little bit if you do something that doesn't look quite right. Make sure those are, we want to move that just a little bit. Okay, I think we're looking pretty good there. And last but not least, we're going to put on the reflector. Going to line up the halfway mark. This one I think I'm just going to hang on to. Sometimes I think it might be a little easier. And we'll put on the final one here. Make sure that's even. Yeah, it's pretty even. Okay, so we take a look at this thing. Let me see if I can zoom out a little bit more here. If we take a look at this, we're done. Quick and easy. What we're going to do next, I think this needs to be bent just a little bit. There we are. Okay. Yeah, as long as it's warm, it's still a little malleable and you can adjust things. So we're giving a little bit of bend there. That was too much. There we go, it looks pretty straight. Okay, we are done. We're going to connect the coax, put the handle on, and it is finished. So catch you in the next segment. Let's get this antenna finished. I've cut a piece of PVC here, 4 to 5 inches long. Got an end cap with a 3/8 hole drilled in the bottom. And a 45-degree angle connector. And what this is going to be will be the handle here. So if everyone can see that. And we're going to thread the coax through the handle here. And I'm going to take the braid and I'm going to move the braid back here. Let's make sure it's twisted up pretty good here. And we're going to feed the coax through, and we're going to pull the coax out of the hole that's drilled here by the dipole. So we're going to move that in there. So we see it, we see it. We see it there. See if we can grab it. Up. There we go. We're going to grab that and pull it right through. Okay, it kind of seems to want to go this way. So we're going to bend this a little bit. And we're going to solder the braid on first. We're going to try to solder the braid on first. Get a good wind on it again. Some more bend on the coax. Pull that back down a little bit. Okay, maybe we're going to solder, actually. Maybe we'll solder this end first. Let's bring this up just a little bit. Get that touching on there. Give it a little bit of heat here. Come on. Not a great solder joint, but let's get a little more on there. And there we go. Move our braid over. That just is not staying together, is it? And let's apply a little heat to that. Not a great solder joint, but I was never known for my soldering expertise. We're going to check continuity on this. So we'll check the center lead first. I can hold it down there. And we got continuity on that. And we'll check the braid second. And we're good on that. Okay. So we've got continuity. Move the soldering area out of the way. Gonna pull the cable through. And I'm not going to show you how to glue this down. I'm sure you can do that, but you need to glue this all together here. And boom, we are done.